My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. That's Ontario Police stalking. They have nothing to do. They spend millions of dollars on stalking, and they wasted it on what is a failed sacrifice, and they're going to be locked up in mental institutions for it. They're monitoring while I'm laying down outside. That's what they're actually doing, using lights and sirens on an emergency vehicle pertaining to that which has actual significance and purpose, and they're using it to monitor my physical movement. They're demons. That is mentally ill behavior while they're stalking with light, driving, stalking on the roads and the highways with the people of the state. All of them are stalking me as well, obsessing over me while they are out, 2:27 in the morning. And these demons are sitting around lurking in the dark, stalking a woman that has embarrassed them with evidence that they've desperately been trying to remove off the internet, while they are psychopaths speeding up and down and all around on the street and doing so in emergency vehicles. That is automatically the removal of a domestic enemy, Paul Leon. That is the federal prosecution, the removal of Mike Lorenz. That's the disbanding of these kidnappers, the Ontario Police Department. They're a bunch of vagina monitors. They're stalkers. The prosecution of this entity, the embarrassment, the public investigation with all this evidence is their removal from position. They're not police officers, and they are not engaging in policing. They have been unofficially removed from position. They're in denial.
They're engaging in mentally ill behavior. They are walking toward what is a federal raid. They're going to be in a courtroom being prosecuted. They're going to be testified against. They're going to have evidence submitted against them, including evidence that they sought to criminally remove from existence, from access to you, while they are criminals seeking to hide. That's what's behind the entity sounding sirens. Stalking. That's what the entity is doing. When they're using sirens, they are stalking. This is criminal summoning at 2:27 a.m. It's 2:29 a.m. P.O.C.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
That's impossible light activity. There is none of their headlights are coming in this direction. Absolutely none of it. That's impossible light activity. It's very targeted with regard to where it is appearing, in other words, and it's occurring under the fake moon. This is an environment where targeting is underway. All right, this is where the entity is engaging in targeting the city of Ontario International Airport, and this is where LORENZ are today congregating. They're congregating with regard to not being true followers of Christ Jesus, but using him and using the sacrifice of his vessel, Easter, as a guise of, this is P.O.C., paid attention to the light activity, as a guise of what is gang stalking me, but this is money making in the United States. They're making money, and this is the business. And it is their business to emulate Christ's church, which they are not actually doing. They're not emulating Christ's church. They're not actually bound by the word. They don't actually obey it. They don't actually believe in it. They don't actually walk in obedience to it. And they are the demon possessed. That's why. They're the demon possessed. And they're gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square. They're gang stalking while I'm being targeted with impossible light. They are on the microphone preparing to pray to Satan while using the name, cloaking it with the name of Jesus. They're praying to Satan. They're serving Satan, and that's audible activity. Those are hostile demons. And they were manifesting light, pacing all around me like they are now, but they were doing so while I'm at this venue sleeping, okay? Pay attention to what you've seen in, I know what I've witnessed in California. The entity is engaged in what is maintaining quote-unquote sunrise services. They're doing so while you are literally giving ode to Satan under the fake sun that rises, where then they engage in what is centering their discourse in fake churches that are a business for the state, subservient to the beast system, talking about the death of Christ. This is the P.O.C. This is where all of those dots are connected. This is the Nephilim that are maintaining the state's church. And it is an extensive business. It's a part of the same entity. It's a criminal enterprise. And it's criminal with regard to what is gang stalking me. Vagina monitors that are in the state's church, hiding amongst what are genuine believers like myself who are ignorant about that. And it's a guise for the state to target you. This is P.O.C. This is impossible light activity. This is the fake moon. This is psychopathic pacing. And it's occurring amongst those that are not secretly wolves anymore. They are not secretly engaging in monitoring, which are demons. They are fully exposed, engaging in what is moreover criminal activity, the pattern of conduct with the city of Ontario at that. I believe this is the venue of the Ontario Town Square and Mount Zion. This is the particular fake church that's engaging in that pattern of conduct this morning. Okay, everybody knows what City of Ontario is. You're looking at the City of Ontario, the demonic entity engaging in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder, hosting what is a fake church service with regard to what is fake allegiance to Christ. They do not really serve Christ. They don't love Christ. They don't know Christ. These are demons. All right, this is the pattern of conduct, and it is at what is the Ontario Town Square. It's 5:12 a.m. under the fake moon, and as I walk away, this fake moon will walk away, and millions in the state of California will observe what is the demonic observation of the sunrise. That's the fake sun. And this is how they are engaging in what is worshiping Satan right in front of your face. This is P.O.C. It's currently 5:13 a.m. There's a fake moon advancing as I advance. And this is the Mount Zion fake church. Psychopathic pacing, criminal monitoring with the government of City of Ontario, that's light activity. And this is the disingenuous conduct of the Nephilim that maintain the business of emulating, duplicating, like the entity that is Satan's demonic imitation of the environment is the state that is Satan's demonic imitation of Christ's church. And all you have to do is pay attention, because you can see them very clearly. You can see them very clearly now that you recognize their pattern of conduct. That's the entity stalking by the Ontario International Airport. And you know co-defendants are who are pacing in the same exact manner. It is the people of the state. Yeah, that's P.O.C. It is currently 5:15 a.m. Satan will play beautiful music. Satan will tug on your emotions. Satan will falsely apply scripture, misinterpret it. Will apply it to justify sin. Okay? Satan will engage in what is appear aesthetically pleasing to you. All right? This is the entity that's engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. It is Satan. And these demons they can't help themselves around me. They manifest light. They're hostile. They're monitoring spirits. And they're stalking with what is the Ontario International Airport. There is no change, in other words, from the pattern of conduct at all. This is not the Holy Spirit. This is the spirit of Satan. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:15 a.m. That is the exaggerate. That's very obvious. It's exaggerated. That's not the train. That's amplification. And it's while the fake moon left the fake church at Mount Zion at the Ontario Town Square. It's over me at the village where Pepe's tolling is monitoring while that public nuisance is maintained for the criminal surveillance purposes of this demonic company that's engaging in monitoring and furtherance of murder. Just like you see them doing under the fake sun while they commit sexual assault and battery, sharing in what is the entity that is monitoring evidence. And then the sex offenders that are demons engage in such documented acts of terrorism. This is Pepe's towing that I took a picture of inside of the Ontario Village Shopping Center. Union Pacific is the particular state actor that's going to be federally prosecuted for criminal monitoring. Its engagement in the beast system under the guise of amplified train activity. It is 5:34 a.m. The fake moon did indeed leave the town square where the demons gang stalking under the name of Mount Zion Church of Ontario are monitoring with the people of the state. The people of the state that, again, demons that are in fake churches across the state in this country claiming that they're trying to reach out to the world and invite them to Christ. The world that is pacing all around that church with amplified audible activity, with impossible light activity. The demons that are so-called in need of Jesus, where the very church members themselves are not Jesus followers, and they are monitoring the same with the demons outside pacing all around that fake church, gang stalking me together. They are all of the same
demonic spirit. This is the service of Satan while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct. And you also know that because of the amplification of this activity, where Union Pacific is clearly engaged in targeting and the train is competing with my voice. That is not the volume of the train. That's, again, it's at 5:34 in the morning. Remember what they're doing. They're sounding train activity inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, because that's what's supposed to be heard right now. It's inside of the vehicles where I was sleeping in the cars, as I documented at Fern Avenue and Vine. This is what the entity's doing at 630 North Fern Avenue. This is what the entity's doing while I am in essentially any location in Ontario. The train activity is a means of monitoring, because you cannot naturally hear it. And while it's competing with my voice while I'm standing at what is King's Inc. The reason why is because of the truth that I'm speaking about Satan. Satan is engaging in what is failing for your inability to hear me, but Satan doesn't want you to hear me. This is the entity that does engage in that while they're engaged in real-time monitoring. Real-time monitoring. It's as real-time as the stalking by helicopter indicates. So the entity is engaging what is claiming to reach out to the world. I'm going to repeat it again. The world that is monitoring with the demons that are inside of the fake church. That's why in the video where you see under the fake moon, those that are congregating today under the guise of being followers of Christ and this purpose of Easter, where they are actually engaging in the pattern of conduct, the worship of Satan, service of Satan, and they're doing so with those that are not congregating in the church, nor do they have to, while they are monitoring together. That's the pattern of conduct. Okay, Union Pacific and Pepe's Towing, Stater Brothers, are sharing. Ontario Village Shopping Center are sharing in the P.O.C. while I have left, and the entities engaging in that same ongoing pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:37 a.m. Alrighty, this is Impossible Light Activity. It's stalking in the path, and there is no land. Remember what Amazon Prime is doing while the fake sun is over me. This is the same Ontario airport flying. I am the target. There's another light source in the sky, the fake. Amazon Prime is stalking while Lupe's in the parking lot. Lupe that can't control her hostility. She's a demon. She doesn't even know why she's so angry at me. It's because she's demon possessed. She is under the law a third party engaged in what is harassment, and that's the federal RICO case, while Amazon Prime is hovering over the El Pollo Loco, over the Habit on this side of the street, like they're landing over here, right here. And this is directly contrasting that. There's no takeoff here. The entity's flying over the, you know what's on Holt Boulevard, till the entirety of Holt Boulevard, by the way. So they're stalking over the venue of the Ontario Village Shopping Center. And this is while the entity, what is the maintenance of impossible light activity, the fake moon, where they also maintain the fake sun and the public nuisance, which is the prosecution of Union Pacific. And Pepe's Towing is engaging in that P.O.C. Under the fake sun, Pepe's Towing, engaging in what is sexual assault and battery. You saw them on video molesting with impossible light. The video evidence that these demons tried to remove off of the Google Drive. I'm laughing because it's going right back up and he's going to prison. This is the entity that's being shut down as an airport, trying to remove the evidence while you're looking at what is the evidence going to prosecute Amazon Prime that is engaging in terrorism, psychological torture, while you are stalking when a commercial plane right here at the same location, while the entity is engaging what is stalking in an entirely different manner, while there's no airport under any circumstances. There's no airport under any circumstances. They're engaging in the looping conduct, flying over my head at the King's Tattoo. They're just engaging what is going around in circles and doing the same thing over and over and over again. The airport is nowhere near here, which is what you can clearly witness when Southwest Airlines is on the opposite side of the street yesterday morning, dipping like there's some airport on the opposite side of the same street. Amazon Prime on this side of the street, stalking, flying over the El Pollo Loco, and Southwest Airlines on the opposite side of the same Holt Boulevard. This is all on video. And they're doing so under the fake moon and the fake sun that's over me. While the entity is maintaining amplified audible activity, the train is not going to be actually competing with my voice. That's the nuisance. That's the audible activity and the engineer light. Okay, and that is again under the guise of what is Easter services, by the way. As I leave where Mount Zion is engaged in gang stalking, calling it church, the fake moon left with me. They're all stalking and monitoring. Those are monitoring spirits, and monitoring spirits play church. They are subservient to the beast system. That is Satan's system of surveillance, and they do so by playing church. All right, they act like believers. They act like they are Christians. They act like they are worshiping Christ Jesus and congregating together in his name, and they are not. They're engaged in what is monitoring, and they're violent sex offenders. They're vagina monitors. And the government is very unintelligent and unsophisticated, and the government has provided evidence to expose that population, even more than just the government being prosecuted itself. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Village Shopping Center at 5:40 a.m. where the Union Pacific is the guise of what is amplified audible activity. It's not the actual train. That's not the actual volume level. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 5:41 a.m. Pepe federally prosecuted. That sex offense with impossible light. They're doing the same, being molested right here. This is a molestation. They complete that molestation on video under the fake sun in the morning when they're crossing path, and you saw that stream of orange amber light. That's psychologically harmful sexual violence pursuant to monitoring, and doing so in furtherance of murder. And I'm going to prosecute that company that's acting with impunity, gang stalking again on the next day with the government. P.O.C. That's an employee that's coming in to partake in vagina monitoring as an entity, and does so with simultaneity to my documenting vagina monitoring on my device. This is the entity that engages in what is the ongoing clear indication of surveillance on communication devices while they utilize tactics such as stalking with simultaneity via a helicopter, for example, as I'm engaged in documenting egregious crimes such as vagina monitoring by the people of the state. This is Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard that is engaging in this. This is a homosexual female who comes into the women's restroom on behalf of an entity of males and females to partake in sexual violence. There is no gender preference with regard to vagina monitoring, the sex offense, the perpetual sex offense committed by the government. So the demon-possessed males and the demon-possessed females are equally predatory. They're equally sexually violent, okay? They're equally threatening to children as well. It's not more threatening because males have a penis, if you will, versus the sex offenders that are coming into the bathroom. I mean, these are predators coming in, and they are on a very specific mission to make sure that they are monitoring my vagina with a level of impunity, with a level of the intent to psychologically torture, while they are monitoring the evidence of them engaging in that. They do this while males and females of this entity are engaging and sharing in that sex offense. It's not more violent because males maintain the penis as a means of sexual activity, because then you're just getting into what is gender preference. And I have to put it in these terms because this is the reality you need to understand. And as far as the Lord God is concerned, there's no difference here. These are sex offenders, and this is sexual violence under the law. And I'm also letting you know what's common sense. The females that are engaging in the sex offense as an entity, they are, if not more, engaged in what is making sure that they are coming in to violate a woman and violate a woman's privacy on behalf of the government, with the whole audience of males that they know, and children. They come in concert with children. They participate with children, via children. This is the entity. I just want to be clear, there's no distinction. I'm looking at equally predatory conduct, violent sex offenders. And Stater Brothers enters into the bathroom at 6:15 in the morning as I'm in use of my device documenting vagina monitoring, the entity doing so while my panties are down, my legs are spread apart, my vagina is exposed on this blessed Easter morning where the demon possessed are engaged in the perpetual sex offense as an entity. I just want to be clear, the demons of Mount Zion are engaging in vagina monitoring. This is the same gang of sex offenders that are stalking under the fake moon, which followed to the Ontario Village Shopping Center, and they are indeed engaging in vagina monitoring as Stater Brothers enters into the venue, and that's exactly how the law operates, and that's exactly how this documentation reveals that. It is a ceaseless P.O.C., and Mount Zion is a sex offender, not a Christ-believing church. So make sure that that is understood, and that's what the evidence shows. It's currently 6:19 a.m. This is bathroom monitoring. It's activity creation. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the City of Ontario being the stalker that it is. Alright, this is hovering miles away from the airport. This is called crossing path. The context is what's over me in the sky space. 9WQZ776 is stalking with the government in furtherance of murder. Alright, and they're going to be prosecuted under various areas of federal law. They are co-conspirators of murder while the government is stalking in the sky space. And the commercial plane is a distraction from what the City of Ontario is doing while they're pacing on the roads and the highways as well, because this is all the city. All this is a psychopathic pacing in the sky space while being stalked and targeted inside of the store. All right, this is the pattern of conduct, and this is the fake sun right over me. And the current time right now, while this is the case, is 1:56 p.m. The entity's keeping the fake sun over me while Hernandez is gang stalking at 815 West Holt Boulevard. That's at 2:10 p.m. Okay, the sun is not going to be, and it's not simultaneously over Holt Boulevard at Superior Grocer 10 minutes from now. Okay, to be precise, 13 minutes from now. It's going to stay over me on what is right here, G Street. And by the way, this is also speaking to the body of evidence that's already prosecuting Tracy Banks of Woodside Senior Apartments, Avanath Property Management. While the entity has the fake sun rising and setting at Woodside Senior Apartments, this fake sun is right now on the east side of Tracy Banks' apartment, number 51, which is where it's at 6:33 in the morning when it's rising, where the Ontario Police Department are stalking by helicopter, and I'm showing you this fake sun while I'm in the same parking lot after 5 p.m. This is the entity that's maintaining this specific environment while the mentally ill are stalking as a government system, and they're still doing so as of April 5th, 2026. And because this is the case, this is the government that's going to be removed from position and federally prosecuted, and so are the people of the state. This is light activity, relevant positioning, federal stalking by a population that is mentally ill. These are the demons that are stalking with light, and then they have the audacity to be all around you shopping like nothing is happening. That's why they're being prosecuted as what are domestic terrorists that engage in the unabated program of psychological torture. License 7 Zebra Thomas Sam 249. These are vagina monitors that surround, including in the sky space. This is P.O.C. All right, and the city of Upland is serving to prosecute the city of Ontario, serving to prosecute the city of Pomona, serving to prosecute the city of Montclair, as I'm showing you that P.O.C. And that's how the body of evidence works when the government is engaging in a pattern of conduct, and they do so with the asininity of a fake sun. This is P.O.C. because what California is doing with me under a fake sun, that's how you know that this is the U.S. government, because there's no sun in Florida when the idiots are under the fake sun on one street in Ontario. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 1:57 p.m. Alrighty, this is the entity that's engaged in psychopathic pacing with the people. 81D Queen Zebra 830. WSS Shoes is monitoring where the government is stalking and clearly deviating from the operations of the airport. That entire population is engaging in that shared pattern of conduct. And remember, the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct while tampering with evidence on the venue of the internet. So this is Alan D. Wapner. You're talking about the people of the state. You're gang stalking me in Pomona, and you have the audacity to believe that you're going to remove that evidence and block your ability, the witnesses, to the truth of what it is being exposed about the demon-possessed, the Nephilim that are maintaining a surveillance system. This is the Nephilim. Some are stalking in commercial planes as well. And the Nephilim is and ages while the demon-possessed are engaging in criminal surveillance. This is the entity that engaged in what is deleting evidence where you will see the fake sun over me in Pomona, California, which was not the case today. All right? That's the entity that is very much fearful. You see, they're still clearly stalking, but they're scared to death, and that's why they engage in that documented, desperate act of terrorism with the intent to obstruct justice. And they're going to sit in prison for this. Okay, this is P.O.C. while they're engaging in that conduct. There is no path from the airport over here. You are deviating, flying miles over here, and then they're hovering over here while you see the fake sun over me. This is P.O.C. The fake sun is over me, by the way, also rising. When I was sleeping at the Support Professional Building, which is right over here, and I'm getting up at 6 and 7, where was that fake sun? Because it's on record. 9XJC535 is a stalker, a vagina monitor, a violent sex offender. That's a domestic terrorist, and they're doing so as a population, receiving welfare and gang stalking. being pregnant and with children, married with other people that they claim that they're in a committed relationship while you're gang stalking, monitoring another woman's vagina. This is the reality of the demon-possessed and the illusions that they live and exist by. This is the entity that's engaging in, and this is the evidence that surrounds the fact that terrorists and vagina monitors, psychopaths, the mentally ill, are operating an entire airport, engaging in what is a fully exposed system of surveillance. And I'm going to not only humiliate them, I'm going to prosecute them. And what you are also witnessing is that the fact that they do congregate and they maintain what are the illusion of what is faith. The demon-possessed don't have any faith. They practice religion with regard to this surveillance system. This is P.O.C. It is currently 2:01 p.m. License plate 9JJM829, sexual assault and battery with the Ontario International Airport. This is Fern and B Street, following through the neighborhood with the airport and further into murder. That's a co-conspirator of murder. And I believe this is the same demon that's gang stalking that I'm documenting along this street. I documented these gang stalkers who reside in relevant position, and I want to be clear, they act with a particular level of impunity that's relevant for federal prison. This is P.O.C., the Ontario International Airport, the City of Ontario conspiring my murder with a wealth of assistance through those third parties, and that's relevant to their federal prosecution. It is currently 8:09 p.m. They're gang stalking with the rest of the people of the state. Alrighty. Sexual assault and battery with the state. This is the state that's flying in the sky space while this sex offender in concert with what is David Quinones. This is the aerial surveillance, and this is the customary position of sex offenders that are also monitoring vagina on the opposite side of this wall. And as they are documented, this is a sex offender that then creates what is light activity while they're pacing. This is mentally ill behavior. They're pacing. They're gang stalking together. License 82219 Charlie 4. This is P.O.C. stalking in the path with light. And this is what they're doing while the fake sons over me and the Ontario International Airport are pacing here. And this is a hostile sex offender that's going to be relevant when they're federally prosecuted. Any children, you're talking about what is any immigrant status, and not just the demon that's operating the vehicle, identified as the leader. You're talking about the entire household, as the federal government's going to comprehensively prosecute terrorists. This is P.O.C. This is Stater Brothers. Just want to be clear. This is Stater Brothers at ongoing unlawful threat. The population is gang stalking under the fake sun, placing objects like a fake moon, and engaging in psychopathic pacing and engineered light. And this is in concert with the employees. This is facilitation. This is cooperative conduct, and it's mentally ill. P.O.C. Alrighty, you do your blinkers again. Do your blinkers again. This is P.O.C. This is Stater Brothers that's engaging in that ongoing while they're documented engaging in what is the sex offense and furtherance of murder. This is monitoring. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. Car? Is it your car? Okay, there are demons that are monitoring together. That's why he's speaking as an entity. This is not even his vehicle. Not talking to him, but you see the hostility of demons that are acting in sync. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the P.O.C. All right, that's the entity that's speaking as when he's being prosecuted. This is David Quinones, a vagina monitor. Okay, that's the P.O.C. That's not his vehicle, I don't believe. But we sure are getting defensive. Is the entity that's speaking as one, pacing as one, stalking as one, demon possession. That's P.O.C. It is currently, and that was what, criminal defamation? Yeah, that was criminal defamation coming out of the mouth of Stater Brothers. This is the mentally ill that engage in that. They're mentally ill, they're gang stalking and furtherance of murder with the government, helicopter plane activity, engaging in defamation, speaking as one. This is the entity that's engaging in that. And this is a brokey, okay? Not speaking to them, and you're looking at that hostility. This is the government that is demon possessed. That's P.O.C. It is currently, every word coming out of the mouth of the demon that's monitoring with this entity, Stater Brothers is being prosecuted for it. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 8:23 p.m. Alrighty. This is the entity that is indeed engaged in monitoring. Those are the employees in relevant position, gang stalking. This is my shadow that's appearing on the wall. This is impossible light activity. They're monitoring together. See this? This is impossible. That's the entity that is monitoring together. That's psychopathic pacing. Those are vagina monitors. This is P.O.C. It is 8:23 p.m. Alrighty, this is the entity that is monitoring vagina. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is documentation of the perpetual sex offense that the Ontario International Airport are facilitating. I'm being molested with impossible light while the City of Ontario is obsessively stalking me by commercial planes. So while I'm at the El Bacon, They're up here gang stalking inside of this bar area. This is the demons that are gang stalking. These are psychopaths that are engaging in criminal activity while they are out engaging at what is a social scene. This is the public corruption that is underway throughout the state that is engaging in surveillance. This is the Ontario Town Square. Remember, they're not flying over the library, over the city hall. It's very much particular to where I'm located. Moreover, the demon-possessed are engaging in surveillance. They're doing so while I'm being molested. This is psychological torture, sexual violence, harassment. These are the demons that are engaging in vagina monitoring, stalking inside of the grocery store while molesting, surrounding with light, mentally ill behavior, where the entity is stalking at that Stater Brothers, flying over me like I captured in the images of flying over that entrance, following and stalking here where the entity is engaged in that ongoing perpetual sex offense. The entity is going to be placed in what are mental institutions for this mentally deranged behavior of stalking with light. They are the demon possessed that are engaging in that ongoing predatory and mentally, psychologically harmful conduct while they're stalking. And that's the airport stalking. That is the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department, who are gang stalking. They are engaging in this with the entity that is engaging in surveillance on behalf of that agency that is responsible for the criminal conduct underway in Ontario, California, and they are being disbanded for it. Moreover, the airport is being shut down. The absurdity of what the airport is doing, which is stalking me. The entities from the same airport, and you have what are vacillating in elevations. At the Stater Brothers, which is west of this location, they are hovering at a lower elevation. This is the entity that is stalking. That's the same psychopathic pacing. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. I want to document the sex offense. While you see the airport stalking, it's directly tied to the sex offense of the people of the state that are molesting. That's Sarah's Regis Group. This is the John Stewart Company, the 280 North Limit Apartments, the Senior Citizen Complex, Metro 102 Apartments, El Bacon, Mule Cart Smokehouse. The entity is gang stalking on the roads and the highways. They're gang stalking at the Vos Church at 303 North Euclid Avenue. While they're turning at that street, they are touching me with light. They're not actually touching with headlights. These are the demon possessed. And the Ontario International Airport is being shut down. The city of Ontario is engaging in a sex offense, and the government's going to be prosecuted as a sex offender. So is every company. So is every entity. This is the population that are going to be prosecuted as sex offenders, conspiring murder together. P.O.C. It is currently 10:32 p.m. Right, here's my shadow that's in front of me here, and this is my other shadow that's larger on the opposite side of my person. This is the environment where the population are sharing and stalking. Everywhere, every household, every address is sharing in that pattern of conduct. They are stalking all around where that is never going to be light that's touching me. Those are the mentally ill at the Tesla charger, filling at the Tesla charging station, pacing around Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue. I'm prosecuting the entire entity. Everybody living in all the apartment complexes, they're all being federally prosecuted together. P.O.C. Police stalking. Not coincidentally, after I'm documenting the entity stalking me by the airport, following and monitoring the evidence, and then making the deliberate documented pattern, that decision to engage in what is stalking and harassing me while they're keeping that evidence under surveillance. This is the entity that removed the evidence of them stalking me while the Pomona police, the city of Pomona, is gang stalking me. The Ontario Police Department are engaging in surveillance. They're being disbanded, and Mike LORENZ is going to prison. This is P.O.C. They're still stalking while they engage in what is trying to block evidence. Those cowards are going to federal prison, and they're going to federal prison while the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking. And both of those aspects of the city of Ontario are going to be permanently removed. It is currently 10:41 p.m. where my shadow's on both sides of my person, and the people of the state are demons who are stalking as a whole population. They're not even focused on being in a club and socializing with each other. They're gang stalking. This is what the people of the state, this is what the Nephilim do, by the way. They don't have their own family. They don't have their own lives. They don't have any personal business. They're engaged in surveillance. This is what Satan is consumed with. And Satan is a spirit that has possessed the entire population. This is not a scary movie. This is gang stalking in California. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:41 p.m.